and welcome. We were with the chapter metallurgy and we will discuss today about a topic called as reactivity series of metals. Now, metals react differently with reagents like oxygen, with reagent like water, and with reagent like acids. The reaction of metals with oxygen, water, and acids we have discussed in the previous video. By the reaction of metals with these reagents, we can't decide the reactivity series of metals. So, which is that reaction that decides which metal is more reactive than other? An important question for your exam, an objective type question. Oxygen can decide? No, all metals don't react equally with oxygen. All metals don't react with water. All don't react with acids. Okay, so which is the reaction that determines the reactivity series or will give you the reactivity series is the displacement reaction. Okay, so the answer is displacement reaction is the reaction that determines the relative reactivities of the metals. Displacement reaction is the reaction that decides or that determines the relative reactivities of metals. Displacement reaction. Okay. Now, according to the displacement reaction, many examples we have done related to displacement reaction. Fe plus CuSO4, hope you remember, gives Cu plus FeSO4. So here we come to know that iron being more reactive than copper, okay, iron being more reactive than copper will displace copper and form FeSO4. Okay, copper is deposited. So here if you go through the reactivity series, who is more reactive? Iron is more reactive than copper. Okay, it's like that. So when you go for the reactivity series of metals, you will find that potassium takes the first position. K, I had given you a clue to remember this, Kanaka, like that I had given you. Okay, now in between we will introduce few new metals, potassium, sodium, then you have a Kanaka, Kanaka, and in between you have a lithium here. Okay, so potassium, sodium, lithium, calcium, these are the highly reactive metals. Next comes Mazaf, remember, no? Mazaf, that is iron. M for magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron. Then you have tin. Okay. Then you have Priyanka Chopra, remember? Pb and Cu. Then you have Hg, Ag and Au. That is, when you come, as you go down, the reactivity of metals decreases. So, Kanaka, there you have a potassium, sodium, lithium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead, copper. Then you have mercury, silver and gold. Okay, gold is the least reactive. So this is the reactivity series of metals. Only this you have to remember. Okay, highly reactive metals, moderately reactive metals and least reactive metals. The reactivity series we will discuss about ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are the compounds which are formed from oppositely charged ions, cation and anion. As they are oppositely charged, the force of attraction which is present in ionic compounds is the electrostatic force of attraction between anion and cation. Best example you can take common salt, NaCl. This is an ionic compound, crystalline in nature. Okay, so they have an electrostatic force of attraction. Best example of ionic compounds are sodium chloride and magnesium chloride, MgCl2. These all are ionic compounds. Now there are few properties that you have to remember about ionic compound. Just what all things you should know about ionic compounds, only that I am explaining. Ionic compounds are formed by the oppositely charged ions, cation and anion. The electrostatic force of attraction is present in ionic compounds, which is much stronger and which gives a crystalline structure for these ionic compound. Next, let us discuss the properties of ionic compound. What are the properties of ionic compound? What are the properties of ionic compound? As we discussed before, the attractive force between the positively charged and the negatively charged ion is strong. So the attraction is very strong for ionic compounds. So the ionic compounds mostly they exist in solid state. Okay, they exist in solid state as because of the strong bond, which is what is the name of that force? Electrostatic force. Okay, so this you have to remember as the first point. It can be asked. Okay, any 4 properties or all 5 properties can be asked. You keep the property name in your mind and then you can explain. The attractive force between the positively and negatively charged ions is strong. So here they exist in solid state. The second property related to ionic compound is they are brittle. They are brittle, and by applying pressure you can crush it into piece. Example, you remember about NaCl. Okay, rock salt, you can crush it and make it into powder form. So NaCl or ionic compounds are brittle. The third property that you have to remember is, as we discussed, the intermolecular force is very high. The intermolecular force is very high in ionic compounds. So large amount of energy is required to break the bond. Large energy is required to break. So huge amount of heat all you have to supply so that the bond breaks. Large energy is required to break the bond. Okay, this also keep in mind. This is another property of ionic compounds. So because the force of attraction is very high, large energy is required. That's why you will find that the melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds are high. Ionic compounds are high. So 3 simple properties you got. Force of attraction is strong, so most of the ionic compounds, they are in solid state and hard. They are brittle. Okay, they can be crushed by applying force, broken into pieces. Force of intermolecular force that you are talking about, electrostatic force, is very large, so high energy is required to break it, so we have to supply high heat energy. Similarly, the melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds are high. The fourth, a very different property that ionic compounds have is not different in case of this property. Ionic compounds are water soluble. They are water soluble. Now, what is this? Why are they water soluble? As soon as you put ionic compounds in water, they behave in a different way. There is a particular manner in which these ions undergo dissociation process. So suppose you put NaCl in water, okay, so they get dissociated into Na plus ions and Cl minus ions. So as a result, because of dissociation, a new force of attraction is established between the ion and the surrounding water molecules. So the force of attraction between this Na plus and water molecules which are present here, H2O, water molecules which are present here, is a new force rather than the original force when NaCl was in powdered form. Here the force is different, and as soon as you put NaCl in water, there is a new force which is acting on these ions. So because of that, the aqueous solution of ionic compounds are formed. Whereas ionic compounds, they are not soluble in solvents like kerosene. They are not soluble because the bond which was formed here, no new type of force that is missing in the kerosene or any other solvent. Kerosene, petrol or any solvent. This force is missing here. Okay, so they are insoluble. So fourth point, ionic compounds are water soluble. When ionic compounds undergo dissociation, there is a new force which is acting between the ions and the water molecules, which makes them water soluble, which is missing in other solvents like kerosene, petrol. So ionic compounds are not soluble in kerosene and petrol because that new attractive force is not established here. The fifth property of ionic compounds is that another important property of ionic compounds is that they are non-conductors of electricity in solid state. Yeah, because in the state the ions can't leave their place. I told you powdered NaCl, powdered NaCl will not conduct electricity. But as soon as you put it in water, as it is in molten state or fused state, they will conduct electricity. They will conduct electricity as the ions are able to get dissociated. They can move. The ions can move in the solution. So in this case, they conduct electricity. So how will you remember? The aqueous solution of ionic compounds conduct electricity, whereas the solid state does not conduct electricity. Why do they conduct electricity in aqueous state? Because they can undergo dissociation. The ions get dissociated. So on passing current through the dissociated solution, the ions move to opposite electrode, cathode and anode. So due to the electrical conductivity, there is electrical conductivity in molten or diffused state or dissolved state. Ionic compounds are called as electrolytes. They are called as electrolytes. I hope you understood the 5 properties of ionic compound. In solid state, they don't conduct electricity. In molten or fused state, they conduct electricity. These are the properties of ionic compounds. So in today's class, we had discussed only about the reactivity series of metals and the 5 properties of ionic compound. Okay, so I want you to write these properties of ionic compounds in your book now and learn it well. We will meet with the main topic metallurgy in the next class. Okay, till then, bye.